Good evening. I'd like to call this Monday, June 17th, 2024, Mid-State Technical College District Board of Directors meeting to order. Roll call, Angie?
Sean Becker, Betty Brusky-Malik,
Yes.
Richard Murden,
Yes.
Charles Spargo,
Here.
Ari Vang,
Here.
Terry Whitmore,
Here.
Ryan Zietlow.
Open meeting certification. This June 17th, 2024 meeting of the Mid-State Technical College District Board of Directors and all other meetings of the board and/or its committees is open to the public in compliance with state statutes. Notice of this meeting has been sent to news media and designated persons in an attempt to make the citizens of the Mid-State Technical College District aware of the place, time, and agenda of the meeting. Open forum. The open forum is at the option of the board chairperson, and ground rules have been established to ensure the orderly conduct of business. This is a meeting of the district board open to the public and not a public hearing. Persons who wish to address the district board may make a statement as long as it pertains to a specific agenda item. Individuals should not expect to engage in discussion with the members of the district board. The district board chairperson may or may not respond to statements made. Do we have anybody here to address the board? Seeing none. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our May 20th meeting, board meeting.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Action on consent agenda. We have the payment of bills and payroll. We have contracted service agreements and procurement of goods and services and board approval of hires and resignations of contracted staff. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, those in favor,
I do
please.
a roll call?
Roll call, Angie.
Betty Brusky-Malik,
Yes.
Richard Murden,
Yes.
Charles Spargo,
Yes.
Ari Vang,
Yes.
Terry Whitmore.
Yes.
On to chairperson's report. Thank you for joining us this evening. Board appointment. The board appointment process is underway. In fact, it's this Wednesday, I believe, right?
It is
This
this
Wednesday
Wednesday.
is at 5 o'clock for anybody that would want
two
to
members.
attend. Huh?
Yes, for 2 appointments.
Oh, it's two appointments.
2 appointments.
All
We're
right.
going to be doing
Okay.
our K through 12 superintendent
Yeah.
and then our employee.
Oh, cool, okay. We will reopen the process in search of an employer member. So if you're an employer out there and would like to apply, please do. ACCT Leadership Congress is going to be held October 23rd through the 26th in Seattle, Washington. Anyone interested in attending, please contact Angie to make proper arrangements. Our next meeting is Monday, July 8th, here at Wisconsin Rapids campus. And we need to decide when to start, either 3 or 3:30. Any preferences? July 8th.
I just have to be gone, so I'm at a 7 o'clock.
What was that, Benny?
I just have a 7 o'clock, so.
Oh, so you'd prefer earlier then?
Well, yes.
When is this?
July 8th, the July meeting?
It's not the third Monday, it's the second Monday. Like
July is always odd.
But I'll be gone, so I'll be fishing.
Okay.
Okay, we'll put you on all kinds of committees.
People okay with the 3 o'clock then? Okay, thank you.
Works
We'll
for me.
do it
3
3
o'clock, Angie.
3 o'clock.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
good.
And now on to, where am I? Foundation report. I heard you had a golf outing.
We did. I got a lot to talk about.
Okay.
A lot going on with the foundation. Karen's gonna chime in and also. what's going on. One of the nice things we had recently is the foundation celebrated its 45th anniversary. And in April, we had a celebration in Stevens Point. Our foundation board was all represented there, and then we had 30 different attendees. One of the things that was really great about it is we had Guy Deflitson attend and give us the history of the foundation. He was the person who wrote our articles of incorporation, and he was one of the original board members, and he was able to share so much. It was pretty amazing. So follow up, we want to actually get all that on video because I think it's a great history to preserve. And then Mary Jo Green also addressed the group. She's our current board president, and she was able to talk about the future of the foundation. So wonderful event. It was well attended. We had a great time, and thank you for board members who were there and attended. So, and little known fact, I didn't know this until I started with the foundation, but it was started with a button sale. So this year we are continuing to sell buttons for $1, which will go towards a scholarship. And the next thing is we are continuing our partnership with the Wisconsin River Rafters, and that's the foundation and marketing work together on that. So actually, I'll be heading over back to Cuts for Kids event, which is a great event. All the River Rafters are here and interacting with the kids, and they're getting haircuts. But we do the free tuition Thursday, so that is continuing this year. And if you're not familiar with the free tuition Thursdays, we select one student on Thursdays when they are playing a home game at the Rafters. That student who's selected gets a $500 scholarship automatically. And then the first 3 innings, if the Rafters pitcher strikes out, 9 players, the 3 strikeouts for the first 3 innings, then they win $15,000 scholarship. So it's kind of exciting. So we're continuing that. Our next one is going to be on June 27th. So, and then we'll also have the night of Mid-State at the Rafters event. That'll be another free tuition Thursday. So if you come, you'll be able to see how that goes, and it's really a great opportunity, great partnership. But yeah, our golf outing, we just had our groovy golf outing, and it was very groovy. So I did send some photos in, and you can see all the fun we had. The one up in the right corner was all our volunteers. And then, of course, we had our signature grooviest volunteer there on the floor. Winner of the outfit. I mean, seriously, that was the best outfit ever. Even like you can see the golf team down in the corner, that's Findorf. They wanted to take a picture with him. Up in the left-hand corner is Gamber Johnson doing the YMCA. It was really cool. Yeah. And then we have even more. There's Betty and Kieran taking some pictures in our photo booth. And there's Chuck and Greg again. And yeah, it was really great. So thanks to Chuck, he sponsored and golfed, and Betty volunteered. So we had representation from the district board. We had some great sponsorships this year. We had a presenting sponsor from Solaris. We had WIFC as our media sponsor. We had Findorf as our food sponsor. We had Hotel Meat as our table sponsor, and then we had Par 3 sponsors of E.O. Johnson, Point of Beginning, Aspirus, Adams Columbia Electric Co-op, Chuck Spargo, Ho Chunk Gaming Nakusa, and Hendrickson. So we collected $7,200 in sponsorship, which is it was almost double what we had the previous year. So that's very exciting. We also had 5 tea sponsors that donated raffle baskets. We had 78 golfers that attended the event, and we were very pleased with the Ridges and the customer service they provided us. They assigned 4 young gentlemen, and all they were supposed to do was do whatever we asked them to. That was very nice, and we had a great time. I had very positive feedback from the foundation board members who were there. They really enjoyed the event. So. Now, upcoming this Wednesday, we are partnering with our outreach team to host an event at Mid-State on Central. It's a community and alumni appreciation event. We're going to be offering for alumni on Wednesday professional headshots, and we're going to be there encouraging them to join the Alumni Association. We're going to have some drawings for giveaways as well for those alumni. All month long, we've been having outreach, has been doing special giveaways to encourage people to engage at Mid-State on Central. And then this one was really going to be focused on alumni. And I said this, I'm like, Jackie just has a great way of convincing. And she's like, why don't you do a brat fry at Festival of Foods as part of the event? So we're doing a brat fry. So we will also, so if you're in Marshfield on Wednesday, come to Festival of Foods. We're going to be having a brat fry. And we have our resident grill master, Greg, who's going to be working the grill for us. So he is going to be very, very generous of his time to come out and grill.
Great.
And then our next big foundation event is going to be our trap shoot on Friday, September 20th. We kind of moved it back a little bit, and we're doing two different times for the shooting part of the event, so we can get more people, and we can also engage with the youth. We really want to get youth involved and participate in the event. So those are my updates.
Well, thank you so
Unless-
much.
Karen, anything to add? We're keeping busy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, President's Report. Shelley.
How do I follow that? Nice job, Mickey and Karen. It was a great event. It's nice to just see all your energy, that's for sure. So just a few things. For campus activities, community involvement, there is at your place, there is a really cool looking brochure that says TechCon.
Yeah.
And you may recall that I had given an update on this last month, just saying that our IT faculty had worked with marketing and they created that great one-day event
Yeah.
for high school students, and it was really kind of that punk cyber feel. I just wanted to show you the brochure that went out. I just think it's just fabulous, and so I asked we had some left, and just to show you the magnitude of what they put together. And you can, I think, looking at that brochure, you can see why so many of the high school students enjoyed it. So we're really looking forward to, I think they've set the date for next year. So just wanted you to have that as a reference because it went over so well. From a community standpoint, I had a great meeting with the new Wisconsin Rapids mayor. I had invited Matt to come over and just sit down with me and really talk about what do you know about Midstate? What can I answer for you? How can I support or be a resource for you as you lead Wisconsin Rapids? So just had a good conversation. I think that's just important in my role to be able to reach out to those new people and just let them know what Midstate does. So had a great meeting with that.
Bet you talked about entrepreneurship.
We did. That was definitely a word that we talked a lot about. He has some great ideas about some things that he'd like to see here in Wisconsin Rapids, and I was able to let him know that we have an entrepreneurial track, actually, and if the city wanted to do something, we could very much partner with that offering. So yes, that was definitely a theme, Rick. You're right on. The foundation golf outing, we already talked about that. June 13th was a big day because we not only had a second annual Partners in Education event that was at the Stevens Point campus. It was where we invite our K through 12 superintendents to come in, and then Suzanne Rathy and Chris invite our university partners as well. So to bring them all together to just really show really the seamless effort that we're all doing that's making such great opportunities for our students. It was a great event. And then got in the car, and I had sent you all an email that we were really honored to have the United States Secretary here. And I think I have some pictures for you that Angie put together. So just an amazing gentleman. The Secretary is in the middle on that top, Secretary Becerra. And you can see our big group. I really need to give a kudos to Chris. Chris was really the person who facilitated this, worked with Deb Johnson-Schuh, our Dean of Nursing, Rick Anderson. They pulled 10 students to be able to come in for the day to do some scenarios with simulation. We had Mike Bovey there from the Legacy Foundation. We had a number, Brian Keefe from Aspirus and Kim Johnson, and really was able to showcase our simulation center. He was in the area because that was the day that they had announced that this administration is going to be giving about $11 million to be able to set up more residency programs for doctors. But he heard about the simulation center, we believe, through Senator Baldwin. And he really wanted to see what is rural America doing. And I have to tell you, I think the staff, I think at one point somebody said to me later, we looked over at you to see if you had a tear, you know, because it was really a moving event. Because to hear the secretary, who is a direct report to the President of the United States, along with, we had, I want to make sure I say this name, Neera Tandon, who's the assistant to the president and domestic policy advisor. They travel together.
Is that her?
Yes. And they actually said, their words were, this is a best practice. This is what people across the country needing to be doing. You need to have a strong educational partner. You need to have a funding partner, so definitely giving the kudos to the Legacy Foundation, and you need to have a committed employer. And so just knowing that they're going to take what we are doing and share that, I think all the staff was extremely proud. I know I was. So just we've had
Wow.
assistant secretaries, but we've never had the secretary here, I believe. So it was a proud day for
Awesome.
Mid-State. Very proud. And just I have to say, a great person. I mean, definitely got in there. They handed him the baby that had just been born, and he instantly went like this, and he said, "I have 3 children." It was like an instant thing to rock
Right.
the baby. It was just a great individual, definitely, and their words were spot on. We got a lot of great press. I don't know if you had
Yeah.
seen it, but we had Channel 7 here, we had Channel 9 here, which is what you want. And so, again, a proud day. And I believe, again, that's because of we're always in the news. We're doing great things. The staff is simply amazing. We're a special organization, that's for sure.
And I think part of that too, when we had the campus visits with Tammy,
Yes.
it resonated very well.
Yeah, I think that we're being innovative and we're doing things and it's being recognized, that's for sure. And just the growth and yeah, our people are the secret sauce. I say that all the time. So Mickey had mentioned, and I think she probably already ran over to that event, but you know that we partner with the Rafters in many ways, and we have our Rafters, Mid-State Night at the Rafters. But this is the event tonight where we have the Rafters at Mid-State. So they come in, the actual players, and are really just there to visit community members that come in, and we do the Cuts for Kids event with that, which is where kids get a free haircut tonight. So that goes until 7 o'clock. So if we get done early, please walk over to the gymnasium. It was going to be outside in the parking lot. The weather, we were not sure. I think the staff made a really great decision to bring it indoors. They're probably kicking themselves right now if the sun is shining, but that takes a lot of people to pull off something like that. First 300 get hot dogs. I mean, it's a big event. So really happy to have that happening tonight. We are all things meta right now. We are living and breathing a meta, and I just wanted to give you kind of an update on what we're doing around all of the grand opening. So the grand opening is definitely on July 22nd. That is a big day because July 22nd is when we started this whole endeavor basically in 2019. So 5 years to the date is really a very symbolic date.
Wow.
We chose Thursday, July 18th to have a sneak peek for our employees because we think that that's really, really important. And so July 18th is also the day where we have our night at the Rafters to go to the ball game. So we typically close around 3 o'clock to allow people to be able to go home, get their family, and get to the ball game. So what we decided to do, and I think the executive team did a great job on this, we are closing the college at noon on that Thursday, July 18th. Because that way employees can go to the Ameta first. So we're going to have the sneak peek for our employees, really to show them that they're our number one. And we believe that they should see it before the general public. So we're gonna do that sneak peek from 12:30 to 3:30. And really just that we're gonna still be unboxing things probably. Hopefully not too many at that time, we'll be ready to go. But they can walk in and be able to get some tours as well. Then we'll go to the Rafters game. And then on Monday is a big day. So we are actually doing a donor celebration that is going to be at 11 o'clock that day. So people who actually gave a donation to the Ameta project, employer or individual, you will be receiving an invite. I know all of the board, of course, had given. You will be invited to that donor celebration. We're very excited about that. We'll have a tent on the grounds. We will be feeding everybody a lunch. So 10:30 arrival, 11 o'clock will be the donor celebration, followed by really, the doors will be open. At 1 o'clock will be the official ribbon cutting. So at 1 o'clock, you can imagine there's another group of people that are being invited for that. So some of the community leaders, our K through 12 superintendents, just other people that we really want to make sure that they see Ameta. So it's going to be a full day. And then we are backing that up. We need a day for cleaning. But then we're going to be doing 2 community open houses. And the community open houses are on Wednesday and Thursday of that same week. So Wednesday, we'll do a community open house from like 12 to 7. And then on Thursday, we'll do one from 9 to 1. And those really 4 events are what we're really classifying as the Meta grand opening. And then after that Thursday is when our recruitment team then will really, Jackie, Mandy, they will then be doing all the other open houses and things that they will be doing. But we're really having 4 events around the Meta grand opening. So I just wanted you to know about that, but also to let you know about closing at noon on that Thursday. We thought that that was a good way to really show that we want our staff to really come, see it, be proud, but then to show our donors on Monday and then the ribbon cutting to follow. So we do have, right now we've got some ask out to some people to do a little bit of speaking. We do have an ask out to the governor. We do have an ask out to WMC, the Wisconsin Manufacturing and Commerce. We know that Kurt is coming back. Kurt was here when we did our 5 million, so he definitely would like to say a few words. So we're working through just those brief, probably 20, 30 minutes of speech that will happen. So we're putting that all together, but we have a lot of meetings. We have meetings as a group to talk through all 4 of these, and then we have people that are just chairing the sneak peek. We have people that are just chairing the donor portion, people who are doing the ribbon cutting, and then people that are organizing the community open houses. So we're all a Meta right now because we are almost within a month. So,
Yeah.
yes, but we're ready. And Ryan's doing a great job. He's got equipment arriving every day. There is definitely working with Chris. There is a hustle and bustle. Greg is doing his best to get that landscaping done. We want grass to grow. Everybody's got their thing of what they're doing. Karen's helping with the staffing because we've had some new positions, so she's working with Chris on that, and definitely Brad making sure all the IT is working, the wall is up, and
That's what I want.
things are coming together. So I don't know if you have any questions for me on a Meta, but we're excited. We had a 7:00 meeting this morning. We sat down for about 2 hours, went through the invite list because you don't want to miss anyone. So we're trying to go through all the great things at the foundation, and really Mickey's gone, but they were the organization, when you think, that have been processing all of the contributions towards a Meta. So I know it's over 300 partners that they have had to process, and they've just we couldn't have done it without them. The college could not have done it without the foundation. So as far as WTCS President Association things, there was a state board meeting in July that I am planning on attending. It is at Northwood Technical College. And then we also had our organizational meeting for next year. So typically, again, the chair moves into the vice chair moves into the chair role and so forth. So we do form an executive committee for the President's Association. You may recall kind of during COVID was my time where I was the chair. So Richard Barnhorst, who is the president at Waukesha County Technical College, he is stepping into the president's role. Jeannie Warden, who is the president at North Central Technical College, will be moving into the vice chair role. And Kate Farrell, who many of you know, will be moving into that secretary role. And then our financial college for our association is always Western. So Roger Stanford then is the treasurer for our executive committee. So it's always organizational time for us. Our next president's meeting is not until September. And then we're also right now finalizing the WTCS ask for the state budget. And we believe there's going to be 6 different asks. Everything from more money for student grants or student financial aid. There will be a general aid ask that we will do. We do not have that dollar amount determined yet. We are going to ask for some additional money for open educational resources to continue to build that initiative. We know that the system office will have some requests. We do not know yet what that was going to be. And then EMS, we are going to be asking for $7 million to support EMS through the state of Wisconsin. So we're just working on that. We believe the sixth ask will be around artificial intelligence and giving the colleges some professional development to really make sure that we're staying out ahead rather than behind. So once we get those white papers and we know for sure what the dollar amounts will be, definitely will be something that I'll bring to all of you so you have it. Because as we go to meet with our legislators, we'll want to know what our ask is and we'll have our reasons why we're asking for what we are. But that would end my report unless there's any additional questions.
Thank
Thank
Shelley.
you.
On to the committee reports, finance and infrastructure. Chuck?
Okay, we've already addressed the consent agenda items earlier in our meeting. So we'll move on to the treasurer's report. We've got budget notifications for the month on page 36. Relatively small and balanced adjustments there on the revenue and expense side, so there's no impact to the bottom line. Just $4,400 for motorcycle safety, adjusting the budget for that. Moving on to budgeted revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund equity, that would be on page 37. That's just modifying the budget to reflect those notifications on the prior page, so very little change to the current budget for the year. The next page shows the accrued revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund equity, page 38. For the 11 months ending May 31st, the general fund accrued revenue exceeds accrued expenses by $2,790,000, reflecting differences in timing of inflows and outflows. The total expenditures for the general fund so far year-to-date are 80.9%, which is well below the 11-month completion rate of 91.7%. Year-to-date revenues for all funds total $62.7 million. To date, that reflects 88.1% of the current revenue budget that has been recognized or realized. Expenditures for all funds total $68 million, representing 80.3% of the expenditure budget being expended. And I just want to point out the apparent contradiction there. For the revenue, we're much closer to budget than on expenditures. But yet our expenditures in dollars significantly exceed the revenue we've received. And you remember in that section on revenues, that does not include the money we borrow, which is down below the line. The other interesting thing is in the revenues, we've now recognized, and I believe we've received, $9 million in the capital projects fund related to the Ameta Center grant. So that helps the revenue look good in relation to the expenditures that don't. They've got $14 million of capital outlay, which is significant. So we're doing very well financially. Year to date, if you look at the next page, combined balance sheet, page 29.
39.
For 23-24, this budget year, we've got cash and investments totaling $22.7 million compared to last year at $29 million. And of course, that big drop is reflecting the expenditures we made in the Ameta Center that have come out of the contributions that people have made. So there's nothing alarming there that's expected because of all the money that's being transferred from our investments, from donations to the Ameta Center, investments in building and equipment. That concludes the treasurer's report. Are there any questions on that?
Yeah, I do have a question. You mentioned that expenditures are at 80.9% expended, right? Am I reading that correctly? And we're already 91% through the year?
I'm sorry, the
The expenditures,
expenditures are at
At 80,
80.9%.
right?
But we've gone through 91.7% of the year. So
Right.
we're well under.
Okay, so there's, it's,
Budget.
we're not waiting for more expenditures to be still realized?
There'll still be, will be, because we got
Right.
another month left. But we've got sufficient,
It just shows that we're under.
we're
what
under
we
budget so far
budgeted,
for
right.
where we would be on a pro rata basis.
Got- Okay,
And part of that is savings in, Fund One is the biggest area where we have control. And salaries and wages are below, but even more significant are the benefits. And that's related to the healthcare, change in healthcare, which has saved us money. So I think you see that in Fund Six, internal sales, media services, self-funded insurances, that's at 50% of revenue, 55% of expenses. That's because the healthcare costs are out of there now.
okay. All right, thank you.
Greg, anything more to add to that explanation? Okay. Next on action items, our first action item this evening is awarding the sale of up to $5 million in general obligation promissory notes, referred to as Series 2024A. Debbie Brunette of Robert W. Baird is with us, replacing John Meehan, to explain the process that we're going to be going through, well, that we went through today, and how that went. So Debbie, floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi.
So today was an exciting day for you. So 7.5 million is the planned borrowing for the year, and 5 million of it today went to market. Came in at a true interest cost, a tick of 3.63%. So great rate for the district. This is summarized for you in the pricing booklet that you have in front of you. So if we look at the first page, it outlines the key characteristics of the borrowing. So it's $5 million. This is considered 2024A, being the first of the two phases. The next we actually have labeled 2025A because it won't close until 2025, but connected to the projects. If approved tonight, it will be deposited in your account on July 17th and will be available to use for your projects. It is based on a AA1 rating from Moody's, and as we talked about today at committee, it's a great rating for technical college districts, and it's exemplified by not only the economics in the area, but the analyst did reference the financial stability that the district has, and that's representative of the admin team and your decision-making in support of the process. So the rating, the credit opinion, as we call it, is at the end. I really encourage you to read through it afterwards, and you can see the detail that the analyst provided in the strengths that you have, as well as the opportunities that are there. On page 3, we layer in this borrowing with the next phase and then the future. So the important takeaways, the first $5 million, if approved tonight, gets locked in. It sets us up for that continued phase, the second phase of the 2.5 coming later in the year. When this one as final and the next one as estimated are combined, we are meeting that levy target that Greg described earlier in the meeting in the budget hearing. So with that,
It's a great rate.
it is great. Mhm.
Can you, or I don't know if it was you or Greg, but what does it, annual savings and interest
Oh, yes.
of what we projected?
Yes, so as we estimate this for you, the closer we get to the borrow, the tighter we get with that interest rate. So we were using a 5% as our estimate. And even as we went into Friday with preliminary numbers, today finalizing, the difference between those two rates saved over $400,000 or about $400,000 in interest cost.
Wow.
So those are dollars that don't need to be levied in order to repay.
That's $400,000 each year,
Total.
total. Okay.
Total. Yeah. Great clarification.
All right, any questions for Debbie? All right, thank you very much.
Good job.
Thanks,
Thank
Debbie.
you. Thank you.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the awarding resolution that can be found on page 40 to 47 of the board agenda packet.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, Angie?
Charles Spargo,
Yes.
Ari Vang,
Yes.
Terry Whitmore,
Yes.
Betty Brusky Malik.
Yes.
Richard Murden.
Yes.
Okay, our next item is concerning the FY25 budget. Prior to our board meeting, we held a public hearing in accordance with statutes 65.9 of the Wisconsin State Statutes, section
Bless you.
65.90, relating to municipal budgets, and the rules contained in Administrative Code TCS 7 as established by the state board under section 38.04, paragraph 11A of the Wisconsin statutes. Each Wisconsin TCS, Wisconsin Technical College System District is encouraged to solicit input from the public and concerned groups, and we accomplished that by having the public hearing just before our meeting tonight. By July 1 of each year, the district shall submit the board-approved budget document to the system office. We reviewed the document on May 8th at the May 8th special meeting. We held our public hearing earlier this evening, and Greg gave us a summary. I will make the motion to adopt the FY25 budget as presented in May, contained in the budget book at your seat and on the resolution on pages 48 and 49.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, Angie?
Ari Vang,
Yes.
Terry Whitmore,
Yes.
Betty Brusky Malik,
Yes.
Charles Spargo,
Yes.
Richard Murden.
Yes.
Next, the committee reviewed the three-year facilities plan. Annually, each Wisconsin Technical College District is required to prepare and submit a three-year facilities plan to the Wisconsin Technical College System Board. The plan must be approved by the district board and submitted no later than August 1 of each year. Mid-State's plan is developed in coordination with the college leadership and each department in alignment with their strategic plan. A copy of the summarized three-year plan can be found in the board materials in front of you. I think this is like a 3 or 4 page summary. Greg says the actual document that we submit to the Wisconsin Technical College Board is 18 pages. It includes a lot of detail because if it doesn't show up in this plan, then we can't do it when that year would roll around. So there's a lot of detail in that will be approved and go to the Technical College District. On page 2 of the document, there's a high-level summary followed by the detailed list for FY25 projects. These projects were approved with the FY25 budget that we just dealt with and will be completed in the coming fiscal year. Page 3 contains a summary of FY25, 26, and 27 by category, that is new construction, remodeling, capital improvements, and leases. Note that FY26 and 27 are potential future projects. They're included in detail in the list that will be submitted to the state, but we can expect changes as priorities change with our community, businesses, and students' needs change. As the committee reviewed the plan and found it acceptable, I make the motion that we approve and submit the 3-year plan to the WTCS state office.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, quick question. So is a meta part of Stevens Point then moving forward in
Yeah.
something like this?
Standpoint of state office, well, yes, it is.
Okay.
You might remember like Adams campus, like for us to have it be a standalone from a financial, it has to hit a certain FTE and it has to be a certain number of miles away from another campus and so forth. So that may be some consideration down the road, but at this point, it probably isn't advantageous for us to do that.
It has to be 30 miles away from a campus, existing campus. It's unfortunately 3 miles. It's a little bit, we might be able to get it there, but at this point in time, under state statute, it'd have to be just right around the block. It'll be there. So I think right now, it'll get sent.
Okay.
Just one comment on the page 4, that top chart that depicts the Wisconsin Rapids campus as 157 acres. I know on one of the District Board Association meetings, that were here, they were like, wow, you have a lot of open space. Some of the facilities are so
Compact.
bound, they can't do anything more than, and we have so much space, so that's a great asset to have. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Angie, roll call. Oh, okay, all right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, we had one informational item this evening regarding the enterprise resource planning software implementation. The initial plan was to launch the student module on September 23rd, followed by finance the first week of October, HR around the second week of October, and payroll by the first payroll in January. To date of 2025. To date, considerable progress has been made with student work cycles complete and data validation in progress. Work cycles for finance, HR, and payroll are underway, and several software integrations have been completed. However, Midstate was notified about 3 weeks ago concerning a delay in the student module that was to go live due to factors beyond Midstate's control, primarily related to Anthology's lack of resources, overestimated efficiencies, and high expectations from a new change data capture process. The delay necessitates postponing the student module go live to December, January. That's from the company's perspective, but Brad and staff have worked with Midstate implementation team and believe that December, January is not acceptable and have chosen rather March 3rd of 2025. Discussions with the company called Anthology are going forward to determine if the finance, HR, and payroll modules will follow the original timeline or be rescheduled. Implementation will continue with the new target date for the student module set for March 3rd, 2025. The impact of the delay on finance, HR, and payroll modules is being assessed. We anticipate that all modules will go live by the end of March 2025. And the college, along with the other WILM participants, are negotiating with the company Anthology for compensation due to the delay. Brad will continue to keep us informed of the progress of the enterprise resource planning implementation. That concludes the report of the Finance and Infrastructure Committee meeting, unless there are questions.
What yard are we on now?
Well, I'd say we just lost a few yards, but.
Yeah, we got sacked.
We got sacked.
Yeah.
I haven't given that one much thought.
Still around the 50-yard line?
We're still at the 50 and moving the ball forward. It's just, I think we're doing slow runs and getting tackled right away versus like a 10 or 20 yard.
Yeah.
So we're probably closer to the 16 yard.
Thank you, Chuck.
Any other questions? Betty, you look like you had one.
I have questions, I just don't know why we have a delay. Are you concerned, Brad, with the delay? I mean, that does put you behind the.
Plan.
Yeah, I do have concerns. Cost that we're gonna possibly incur with that delay. Yeah, I am concerned. Made parent about 3 weeks ago. When you're in a project such as this magnitude, I just hope that you won't go past that go live or timeline. There's certainly that opportunity where past and have to extend it.
Right.
And so, you know, technology, overcommitted resources, not overcommitted, did not have project, which caused a delay. Go live at that time, as they thought they were at that time. They had efficiencies they were expecting with implementing three colleges and growing together, but they realized wasn't going to be the case. That required more resources. And then the third item is that, you know, they had this process, they used to call it ETL, which is extract, transform, load data, and they moved to this capture, which is essentially getting data from our current PeopleSoft into Anthology, and they were hoping that that would have efficiencies timeline and get us more ground. That hasn't came to fruition, has gotten better, but that did not result in their expectation.
So the other two colleges are in the same boat?
Yes.
We actually had a call. We've been communicating, so we had a call with all three presidents and all three CIOs even today and talked about, so we're just kind of leveraging our own individual strength through the contract that we signed with them, but now we are also coming out as three together to just say that, you know, we're disappointed. We just really want the CEO to know that we feel like there needs to be more attention given to us. And again, just the likelihood of some increased costs that we may have and how we feel that they may be responsible for those costs. So things that we're just talking with, so. And we have already, Brad and I have already had a meeting individually with upper administration there and expressed probably maybe 2 months ago, Brad, the weeks go by, because we kind of were worried that this could happen, but they had not changed any of our dates. So we thought, well, until they change the date, we have to trust them. But Brad could kind of see the writing on the wall per se. And then once they really did change the date, we've just felt like we needed to take a little bit of action. And for us to move over to a new system in December and January, you can think from an enrollment standpoint, we just can't have that many people using a new system, and that could be just not a good thing for the user or for our staff. So that is why we said it can't be at the end or beginning. So that's why we said no, that we'd rather wait until March, because hopefully that would also give them, trying to be a good partner, it would give them the time as well to just make sure that it's right. Because if you hurry up and you implement in December and January to make a deadline, so we're trying to be as good of a partner as we can as well, and also trying to just make sure the user experience and our staff experience is positive. So, but I'm hoping that they will take action, but they've been a very popular product, and I think that definitely this, you know, salesman did a great job, but as you all know, there's workforce shortages in every industry. So again, what is in their control and what is out of their control. But again, we have a contract, so we just need to hold them to that contract.
Thank you.
Is the March 2025 date, is that in the middle of a semester here?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to expect students to turn over in the middle of semester, or?
Well, we already had planned that kind of two
Okay.
systems were working at the same time. So that way, from a registration standpoint, it would not impact spring registration. Yeah. And Brad and Shelley, his director, they're doing a wonderful job of managing this. As you know, we have over 30 plus people at the college that are working on this. I think Karen, today you alone had 6 hours of anthology meetings? So I mean, we're talking a lot of time that our staff is putting in with their staff to make sure we get the right product. So we're doing what we need to do on our end. We're just need them to do what they need to do as well. So.
Thank you.
That concludes our report.
Thank you. Academic and Student Services Committee, Ari.
Okay, today we only have information on the items. At your desk, you should see somewhat like an outline called Academic and Student Services Committee at the top. This is a nice little chart put together to show us the types of modes that we deliver instructions here at Midstate. Chris came up with a really unique acronym, OHIO, if you want to remember that. So online, hybrid, in-person, on-campus video conferencing, and online live. And as you can see, he's also put some bullet points in there about either an increase in usage of certain modes or a decrease in usage. So just from the most significant increase, that's online, and then online live is the most significantly decreased mode over the last 4 years. The definitions are at the top in case you're wondering what's the difference between online and online live.
Synchronous and asynchronous, right?
Right. And then he also put together some data on male and female preferences, which is kind of unique, actually. Male preferring more in-person versus female preferring more online modes. And then on page 2, you will see it broken down in terms of age group of 18 to 24 years old, because those are the most common demographic that we have here. And you see that hybrid is the highest demanded modality and has steadily increased in demand over the last 4 years. Below that, you see the two charts at the bottom, page 2 and 3, talking about the duration of schooling. As you'll see, 8 weeks courses tend to have higher successful completion rates, and broken down by the delivery mode. On there, you can see where it was most successful for both 8 weeks and 9 weeks courses. Okay, and so just just information only to see where the trends are heading as far as that goes, and where the college might look towards offering more of different types of teaching and duration of courses. Any questions?
Good data.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, on
you.
to the Human Resources and External Relations Committee. We had 2 resignations at Gregory Engine from Renewable Energy, and Julie Larson from Health Information Management. Informational items Karen shared with us. Did everybody get one?
Yes.
Everybody got the 5-year affirmative action plan. And so this is not federal requirement, it's a system requirement every 5 years, so you'll have that packet. Basically, it takes a look at the federal annual community survey data on our service area within the 80,000 in the service area, what that mix is, what that diversity is. And then it looks at that versus the student population and the employee here population. And so then if, basically highlights if you are below that community average or above that community average, which can get really tricky because one person in one category, plus or minus, can change quite dramatically those percentages. So it takes some analysis to look at that really and say, okay, where is there where is there meat there? You know, where can we make some changes? And a couple of examples are in some of the communications or outreaches, having examples in Spanish and both Hmong to try to reach out to those populations. Another what do you want to say it? It's a anomaly of the system. So on the employee side, the mid-state employee side, one of the things that came out of there is that we are below the community percentage of disabled individuals, but that number is a self-reported number. And the number of people requesting accommodations is higher. And that's because a number of those people did not disclose that they are disabled. So some of these things, there's nuances here, you know, and it really comes down to the group looking at this and saying, okay, what are practical ways in which we can address the needed deficiencies in that. So it's a lot of good information and a lot of good planned actions in the first how many pages. It highlights what type of actions they'll be taking based on the data. Conference review. Craig shared that the number of conferences held in the last fiscal year is 12, and that's double what we had in 2023, a total of 962 attendees at these conferences. An excellent example of utilizing, you know, the programs, the facilities, the relationships. It's just great to see the ways that Midstate is reaching out and providing opportunities across so many different sectors. And he reports that right now they're planning for an additional 3 additional conferences for next year. So great effort underway there.
Three more than we had this year?
Yes, 3 more. So 15 total. We had 12 this year. And they range from Adams, Stevens Point, Rapids, Marshfield, at Heartland Farms. That was the Farm Rescue Conference. At the Food and Farm Exploration Center, that was the Wisconsin Talent Level Up Conference. I mean, so really utilizing and partnering, you know, in the area. And of course, every time there's a conference there, it highlights Midstate's capabilities. So that's great to see. That's all for our committee. Discussion and action, recent global education experiences. Chris. By Jolly. London. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal today about in London on the river, they had the famous boat race, the sculls, what do they call them? The rowing with the.
Yeah, what do they call it?
What do they call it? But anyway, they had that race, and it's a ritual that after the race, they throw the coxswain, the one who says, row, 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 throw him into the river along with the coach in the river. The river is so polluted that they did not do that.
Wow.
So that's a London tidbit.
I was going to say, I wonder if any of our students, so we jumped into the river. Mid-state students and staff were fortunate enough. We wanted to share some of our recent experiences that our students and staff have undertaken. We've traveled to London as well as, and Suzanne Rathie, our executive dean, helped facilitate that experience. And we also facilitated our German exchange experience. And Amber Stancher, our dean for our School of Adult education and learning resources help facilitate that experience. So we have a handful of slides and some information that we just want to share with you about those experiences for our students and staff.
Cool.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I think this is the fun part, right? So many months ago, you approved us going internationally, and now you get to see what we did. So, of course, there's our mission to support the college's mission of transforming lives through educational travel and cultural experiences that prepare participants to excel in an increasingly connected worldwide community. And so that's what we're trying to do. And the activities that we do really speak to these things. Now, the London trip was sort of on the academic side of the house, and the German exchange trip is sort of on the student life side of the house. Although,
So with beer.
no comment. Right. Although both of them, regardless of whether they're in academics or student life, have academic components to them, whether it's co-curricular competencies or academic competencies with them. So the first trip that we took, May 21st through the 29th, was our London trip. We took 14 participants. And John Steele, who is our advisor for global education, led that trip. I was his co-leader on this one. And what we do is that our students experience this academic opportunity in a couple of different ways. They have a choice. They could take a 1-credit global cultural experience course, or some of our university transfer students were using this trip in preparation for creating a portfolio that would allow them to get credit for prior learning for a 1-credit well-traveler course that satisfies their health and wellness component of university transfer.
So what programs were these 14 from?
I couldn't even name them all,
Yeah.
because it was across the college. There was criminal justice, there was EMT, there was business, there was accounting.
And do you know how many of them, this was their first time out of country?
Yes, over half of them.
Okay.
It was their first time out of the country. And there was one individual who it was their first time on an airplane.
Oh.
So if you can imagine going 8 hours your first time. But he did very well, and so when we are designing these events and these opportunities, the itinerary is really looking at 4 competencies that we want to be able to meet. We want to give students that cultural immersion. So we want them to be in a different environment, having a different experience, really having, it could be anything, right? It could be just being in an international airport. That's cultural immersion. Being in that new city. We want to give them the historical education portion of that. So our itinerary included things like we went to Westminster Abbey, we went to Windsor Castle, we went to Hampton Court. We did these educational kinds of experiences to really help them understand. And I think if I had to do some things over again, which we will do it over again, I would give them a little bit more historical preparation before we went. I think it's easier for them when we do our domestic trips. They have that historical knowledge. They maybe didn't have as much as they could have had when we went to London, and so that's a learn for me, is to give them a little bit more prep before we go. Our art and culture appreciation, we were able to go to the British Museum, the Tate Modern Museum, so very different kinds of museums. We went to the Victoria and Albert Museum as well. And then our 4th component is that personal growth. So it's not just that we are planning every minute of every day for them, because what we want them to be able to do is to grow in this experience. We want them to be able to venture out a little bit on their own. So we do give them a little bit of free time in the evenings after our activities are done, where they can choose an activity that they want to do. And of course, if they need help, we'll help them. We're not just going to say, fly, little birdies. But by the end of the trip, they don't need our help. They are very comfortable with the bus system, with the tube system. They know how to use their transportation cards, the Oyster cards. They know how to do a variety of things. And they're traveling really all over central London on their own. And so that's really an exciting part of this whole thing, is just to see that individual growth. And when we asked them, 100% of them would recommend that experience to others, which probably doesn't surprise you.
What was the duration?
It was 9 days. Yeah, 9 days.
Did they have cell phones that were a tool for them?
Yes.
Do they work there?
Yes. So what we do as part of the Global Cultural class is there are a couple of class meetings before we go on the trip, and we prepare them for those kinds of things. So we tell them, if you want to have access that is more than just Wi-Fi access, because there's Wi-Fi just about everywhere. They could hook up their Wi-Fi and be fine. But if they felt more comfortable having cellular access, we tell them, these are the things that you need to ask your cell phone company. These are the costs that it will probably be. You can choose your plan. And so I think all but one of them had cellular service the whole time. And of course, John and I have cellular service the whole time as well, just in case something were to happen. Yeah. So these are some of the places that we went. And on the bottom, you can see that our students, when they had time on their own, some of the things that they chose to do, we had students that took day trips to Stonehenge, which is something. That means you have to go to Paddington Station. You have to get on a train. You have to travel an hour and a half to 2 hours on that train. That's a big deal, right? Now you're not just in central London, you're going somewhere else. So that was really huge. We had other students that took in a British high tea, which is really a cool thing to do. And understanding the importance of not showing up in your t-shirt and your tennis shoes, right? Because that's not part of the culture when you're British high tea. And we had students, of course, that wanted to see Harrods, probably, the premier department store in the world. So
That's where you would have gone,
That's
Shelley.
why I went.
Yeah, I know.
yeah, lots of fun things. So you can see them on the train. Here we are at the station. We're about to head out to Windsor Castle this day. And so this was their very first time on a train where they could see the landscape around them. So, they didn't get much of that on their ride in from Heathrow, but they saw this on our trip out to Windsor. And that was fun because they got to see what a smaller town, not central London, is like as well. So you can see some of their quotes. It was life-changing in so many ways. Eye-opening.
Good.
I think
Thanks.
I'm going to pass off to Amber to talk a little bit about the trip to Germany.
Yeah, so when I went to Germany, I expected to be the chaperone that kept my little student deckies in a row, helped them navigate. But I quickly learned the significance of this trip to their self-growth. And it was an honoring experience for me because each one of them are at different points in their lives. And the growth I saw in each one was just amazing. So thank you for this opportunity. For this one, the way that we started is we started each day going to the school. And it was actually a high school, kind of. So they have a different school structure in Germany where the majority of the students go through what we would consider like a youth apprenticeship. So they already are under what they call contracts with an employer, usually around 10th, 11th grade, if that is the route that job career requires, or else you're on university prep if you're going into things like lawyer, doctor, teacher, and then you are on the university track. It also allowed us to talk to a lot of the high school students about stereotypes. So there's a lot of interaction, and the majority of them did speak English, so that made it a lot easier for me. But I've never been asked so many times how often I eat fast food than when I was in Germany. So apparently that's the biggest stereotype. So there's that.
Where is Dreich?
So where is...
The town, right? That's...
Oh, yeah, so usually all of the towns were with like an hour from Frankfurt. So we were in the Frankfurt area, and then that's about 10 minutes out of Frankfurt for the school district. And so the day started with being at the school, and then we would travel to a unique place that had a feature that we could experience. So you'll see Heidelberg is where we are in that picture for the castle. And then we had Hessen Park, which is more of a historical museum. Darmstadt is more of a university flair. Frankfurt's the city. And then we had some interesting experiences with the Red Cross. And then DeLonghi is actually a coffee house, but they're also going into the Ninja. So we got to see that. Brad Pitt is their new spokesperson. So that was an interesting tour. And then we also got to go to Parliament and meet one of the ministers. And then we learned that there is also a Germany and Wisconsin alliance. And a lot of the political officiants have their students going to Madison High School. So we had a great conversation there.
Can you tell us more about the Red Cross?
Yeah, so the Red Cross is very interesting because it's a little more involved with the ambulance services over there.
Okay.
So they are all volunteers, and a lot of the people who work at an ambulance service also volunteer at the Red Cross. So as long as they have one of those there, they can also answer calls for medical emergencies. So all their vehicles are very much like the vehicles that we would have here for our ambulance services. And they are also hosting the soccer tournament over in Europe, so they will be on call for all of those medical emergencies. Here are some quotes by our students. You know, a lot of them, like I said, the South growth was amazing. When I got to end the day with them, we had an hour just to talk. And we talked about what did we learn? How does this apply to the US? You know, what are you going to take away when you get home? What would you change? And that's where that conversation really deepens. And we really got to know each other very well in those 10 days, let me tell you. But they all loved the experience. And then during the weekend, they got to go with their host and experience the everyday life with their host because we all stayed with a host family. So that made it a unique experience all in itself because apparently they all felt the need to give us a barbecue because that's what Americans must do. So we all had barbecues on Saturday and it got to meet all their friends and family members. And then Sunday was more of a touristy day for us.
Was there any connection, you know, in Wood County, the highest, country of origin is Germany. So was there any of the participants that had some German heritage or German connections?
Yes, there was. So Heidi, who I'm trying to look at a picture that could easily pick out Heidi. She is the one by me in the Parliament picture in the black skirt and blazer.
Okay.
She had family over there, and so
Okay.
did Olivia, who's in that pink dress. And Olivia is actually still over there. So she has family in Munich.
Cool.
And
Well,
then
Olivia was a
Kai,
student
who is
ambassador
the other
last year,
one-
wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah. And then Kai is actually now considering moving to Germany at some point. They are really researching how does their nursing degree here potentially fit in over there, and if there's a master's program that they could complete while over there that would then transfer back to the U.S. Most of them are going away with more to-dos and I want to research than they did with anything else. So, yeah, very proud of them.
And how long were you, oh, sorry, Chuck.
No, good.
What was the duration?
10 days.
10 days.
Is this trip done every year or every other year?
So we are going to be doing it every year, from my understanding.
And if you recall, we host.
Yes.
And we had our German exchange students that came here in the fall and then we
that's
go.
every year too?
Yes.
Okay.
So the German exchange happens every year. Of course, COVID put a little bit of a wrinkle in that. And then the other trips, we try to alternate domestic and international. This year, we're trying to do a New York trip in the fall, and then we'll do another international. You'll see that request coming through in a couple
In the
couple
next
of
month or so.
for a Japan trip.
And the nice thing is the students that come over here in October are the one who host our students over there. So they already had kind of an experience with Midstate.
Sure.
Worked out really well.
That is so.
But just for clarity, when they're here, you don't feed them just fast food.
They requested a lot though.
Really?
Yeah, Taco Bell. It's the popular fast food of choice.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I also got to meet the instructor that will be here in October. So he spent a lot of time with me and I got to know his likes and dislikes and his expectations. So he is very excited. So when you meet Frank, he's originally from England and moved to Germany. So
Is 3 a typical number that go? Or it seems like there were more in the past.
If there was around 6 or 7 in the past.
Typically, we allow 6.
Yeah.
This particular instance, we just had some quirky things happen. One had a medical thing, couldn't go, another personal experience or personal thing that they just couldn't go. And then the 6th one, actually, we realized that she was just a little bit too young to go, so she will be on the list next year too. So she did great in her interview, but then when it came to doing the passports and all of that, we had a revelation, and that was that she was just a little bit too young, but she'll go next year.
I didn't understand that. So you can't get a passport if you're what?
No, she could get a passport. We just have a policy at Mid-State that they have to be at least 18 before they can go.
So she was 17?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And similar to Suzanne's experience, we had students that didn't ever ride a bus, didn't take a train. So we try to hit every mode of transportation. So that was one of her highlights.
Okay.
Easy to please.
But not swimming in the Thames, right?
No, no.
Yeah. We didn't do any of that. Boat rides.
It's surprising how like other modes of transportation are so well used in other countries,
Yeah.
and that, and especially in Stephen's point here where we might have a bus system, that, when you go to, like, even when I've gone to New York, I'm like, wow, like this is a system that you have to get used to.
Yep.
And I think one of the biggest revelations that the students have is how much walking is involved.
Yes.
We tell them, we try to prepare them that you will walk a lot, but they just don't have a concept of that until they get there and they said, whoa, a lot means a lot.
And I loved it too because with my host, we biked everywhere. And I love to bike. And, it was a different experience because it's all like highways and there's 2 lanes, but their 2 lanes are not our lanes. But how much they accommodate bikers. So it was fun.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing.
Cultural awareness is absolutely at the core of what we try to do at Mid-State, and this is just one of these 2 experiences are an opportunity for our students, which is great. And it absolutely helps us to recruit and retain our students, being able to provide these similar experiences that other colleges and universities provide. So we just appreciate the opportunity to go.
Thank you.
We'll be bringing seeking approval for our Japan experience.
And Germany again.
In the next couple of months.
All right, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. With that, I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion, is there a second? Angie, roll call?
Terry Whitmore,
Yes.
Betty Brusky Malik,
Yes.
Charles Spargo,
Yes.
Ari Bang,
Yes.
Richard Murden.
Yes.
I move we come back into open session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, Angie?
Terry Whitmore,
Yes.
Betty Brusky Malik,
Yes.
Charles Spargo.
Yes.
Ari Bang,
Yes.
Richard Murden.
Yes. In closed session, we made some discussions on employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data. No action was taken. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by.
Discussion. I just want to say we're favorably impressed with the report that was given by the
very good.
president. The
Yes.
progress being made so far
Thank you.
year to date.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Tremendous results from the organization. Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.